Hello everyone, my name is Rihanna and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be answering the question that has plagued all of our minds since the beginning of time. What if my favorite Straw Hats were adorable ponies from the hit series My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic? Right? We've all thought this before? Yeah, exactly. Jokes aside, One Piece is one of my favorite animes of all time, and My Little Pony is also one of my favorite shows of all time. So like, why not put the two together? So today I'll be doing just that. So I'm going to be doing the original 5 Straw Hats from the East Blue: Luffy, Zoro, Usopp, Sanji, and Nami.
Do you take us for idiots? We never trust food from someone like you.
Hey, look, apples!
So the first one that we're going to get to today is, of course, Luffy, our favorite future king of the pirates. So as for his design, I ended up making him an earth pony because, I'm not associating with like, flying, magic, or anything. And that's like the whole thing. Luffy's an idiot. That's all he is, and I love that for him. So he's just an earth pony. And if you're wondering, I think Gold Roger is also an earth pony, of course, in this universe. I struggled a lot, to be honest, with the straw hat because I was like, how do ponies even wear hats for real? Like, do they put holes in it for their ears? So I did struggle with that a lot. But I think it ended up it looks kind of weird, but I think it ended up fine. I mean, the ears are kind of going through it. Whatever, I can't do much about that. His cutie mark, I can't lie, we all can see it. I definitely traced Sunset Shimmer's cutie mark. But I'm not even gonna beat around the bush. Y'all know it, I'm not lying, I'm not keeping anything a secret, I did. And my idea was like, the same half and half, you know how Sunset Shimmer has 2 colors? I was like, okay. He's the sun god, alright? Let's make one half a sun, the other side the clouds that's in his Nika form. I said, yeah, let's put that together. That's his cutie mark design. And, I like how it turned out. Someone else who turned the Straw Hats into ponies, I saw them give him no mark at all, which I agree with. I think he didn't have a mark this entire time, but when he awakened his devil fruit, that's when he finally got his mark. And I was like, struggling to figure out what type of mark he would have. His destiny is yet to be the king of the pirates, but like a crown, that's kind of like tyrannical. It kind of opposes him. So I was like, what represents freedom? If Nika represents freedom, then the symbol that represents Nika, the sun, shoot, maybe it also represents freedom. So I think it works. So Luffy's cutie mark is a sun. Didn't really do much with Luffy. Once again, pretty basic, and I don't mind that. I think it really matches his character. And yeah, I gave him the sash that he has post time skip. That's like really the thing that he keeps in all his post time skip outfits. It's yellow usually, but I ended up making it red because it just fit more with the design. I tried to make it yellow like it was, and I was like, oh, it's just not working because there's no other yellow on the pony design. So I just said, let's just make it the red, like the Straw Hat's red and everything, and his jacket red. Since that was omitted, I might as well put that red somewhere else in the design. So that's what I did. And of course, guys, I drew everyone's favorite gear. Gear 4, Bounce Man, of course, right? We're all thinking that? Exactly. And I actually really like Bounce Man. I don't know if I'm the only one who does, but I actually have a really deep love for Bounce Man. He's so cute and adorable and funny to me. I love him. I know we all want to see Bounce Man as My Little Pony. I knew we all wanted to see that. But yeah, I think it's really cute overall, and I like it. That's all that matters. Here's Straw Hat Luffy in pony form. And yeah, overall, I do like how Luffy turned out, but he was one of the first I did. He wasn't the exact first. I actually ended up doing Zoro first, technically, but that version of Zoro I did first was scrapped, so it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, so Luffy was one of the first ones I did, and you can kind of tell. Like, the drawing is cute overall, I like it, but when I look closely, I think the shading's a bit messy, it's a bit chunky. The line art's very thick, in my opinion, especially compared to how the other ones turned out afterwards, so I'm not really that big of a fan of that. But overall, it's okay. I'll live,
Sanji, if you know what's good for you, just keep sucking.
Zoro, my favorite. I love Zoro. He's like literally the GOAT of the Straw Hat crew. That's my G right there. So, as I mentioned before with Luffy, I technically started with Zoro first, and I didn't like it. I'm gonna put it up on the screen real quick. It was okay. He just didn't look as big and bulky as he needed to. I was struggling with drawing ponies because I haven't done this since I was like a really little kid. I don't really draw ponies in my free time, even though I'm a really big My Little Pony fan. I tend to draw them as humans more than I draw them as actual ponies, so it was that. So yeah, I don't really draw them often, so I was struggling with like the anatomy and everything, and I was trying to make Zoro look big and bulky because let's be real, out of all the Straw Hats, he's the strongest. You know, he got the biggest tits. That's all that matters, biggest muscles, everything. You know, that guy is definitely always in the gym. That's a gym rat right there. So I needed his pony to look big. So I tried to use, you know, like Big Mac and everyone as like reference points, but I just couldn't get it. So now I restarted with this one. And my main goal with this one was to get that big, bulky, tall body type, right? So yeah, and I think I ended up doing it pretty well. You can see that there was a stark difference in how I did the line art compared to Luffy's. Luffy's was more thick, this one's a bit more thin. And I wish I did keep it more consistent, but when you're drawing multiple drawings over a span of time, they end up having variations in them that make them look slightly different because you're doing things differently every time. But it's whatever. I think I started these drawings in December and I finished the last one in like last few weeks of January, I believe, of the next year. So, you know, over 2 months, stuff started changing a bit. So I made Zoro a unicorn. I think it's funny because we associate unicorns with like the dainty, pretty little ponies, right? So what if this big hulking man, this chunk of muscle, what if he was a unicorn? Why not? And I think it's just so cute. I love that for him. Cause like I was like, how could he hold his swords? And I've seen someone, they made him a Pegasus and he holds his swords with his wings. I really like that concept, but me personally, I said, yeah, I'm gonna go for unicorn. Cause why not? I just think the contrast of cute unicorn with Zoro is just like really funny to me. So yeah, so he uses his unicorn magic to hold his swords. And of course, the third sword goes in the mouth. Nothing has changed from canon. I try to give him some variations, like some white gradients, just to break up the monotony of green in his design. And I gave him his belly band because, like, once again, I'm trying to add the most significant, recognizable parts of their outfits their human counterparts have. So I said, you know, he always wears his belly band, so let's add that. And I think it's cute, and it also helps him hold his sword sheaths, you know? And for the little mini drawing, I decided to do Ashura in pony form, because once again, that's really what we needed in life. And as for his cutie mark, I was kind of referencing the symbol from his little uniform when he was a child at the dojo. But to make sure it's 3-sword style, I put a katana little drawing in the middle of it. I don't know. I don't really care for how this cutie mark turned out. I think it works its purpose, just to show that he's a master swordsman of the 3-sword style. But to be honest, maybe it could have been better if I just left the 2 swords, but that's kind of boring, you know, whatever. He's a swordsman. What, Mihawk has the same one or something? Like, damn. But yeah, that's really it, you know. I like how he turned out. I'm definitely happy that I redid him, because the first one I was really disappointed in, and this one I just really like. I think he turned out really cute. And it's everything I needed in a little pony Zoro, you know?
There's a beautiful lady swordmaster with a whole bunch of meat!
So next up, we got Usopp, our favorite character. It sounds like a joke, but I actually really do like Usopp. One of my friends just hates his guts. He's a liar, he's a fraud. He's words I cannot say because they're so offensive and they're high-key slurs. So I'm not gonna say them, but they cannot stand this guy. And I kinda get it, you know, whatever. But I think Usopp, he's so funny, he's so cute. And honestly, when he needs to pull through, he'll pull through. So as for him, I said, why not make him a Pegasus? Now, hear me out. Hear me out. You know, I think Earth Pony works as well, but I think Pegasus allows him to run away really fast, you know, because that's one of his things. He runs really fast because he's always running away from danger. So I said, what if you're just flying away really fast? Like, who's going to catch him in the air unless you're also another Pegasus, right? And if he's already really good at running as a human, he's probably really good at flying away. So no one's going to catch him in the air as a Pegasus, you know? But here's my biggest thing. I think I felt so smart when I did this. Usopp wants to be a brave warrior of the sea, right? Okay, so he uses a slingshot. Okay. How does he use his slingshot as a pony if he only has wings and can't use magic to hold it? Well, you know, in the show, they kind of use their wings as hands all the time. So I said, okay, he'll use his wings to hold the slingshot, right? But that requires him to stop and face his enemy. He can't run away with his wings if he's using his wings to hold the slingshot. So for him to become a brave warrior of the sea, he has to stop running away. You know? So I felt so smart when I did that. I was like, yes, okay. Yes, Usopp's a Pegasus. This makes sense. And as for his design, as you can see, he got the most clothes out of everyone so far. Because, like, I love his post-time skip outfit, to be honest. He had such a glow up. He's so cute in those little overalls and everything. And I said, I think I can put this on. Like, pony clothes is really strange because, like, how do you draw them wearing clothes? I don't know. But I think I ended up actually pulling it off pretty well. I was clearly struggling in the beginning, as you can see in the recording. But in the end, I think it pulled off pretty well. I was trying to avoid giving ponies, like, something that's too close to their skin tone because then it's like their fur is just the color of their skin. That's weird. But his did end up as a brown. But I like how it looks. I think a pony could be this color and it's fine. As for his cutie mark, I ended up drawing a shield. I don't know exactly what that represents. Maybe it's like, you know how like Dory and Broggy have a shield. It's, you know, part of like that type of weaponry. Maybe it's showing that he wants to be brave. But I also included the little sniper radar thing. What's it called? Crosshair. A sniper crosshair to just show he's a sniper. And I don't know. Some of these cutie mark designs I was struggling with a bit. I think some of them, you know, pulled out well. Even though, like, if you think about it, this one kind of doesn't make too much sense. I do like how it looks. It's a simple little cutie mark that he has. It's whatever. And, of course, I drew for his mini picture. I didn't draw Usopp. I don't know why. I don't know what came over me, but I drew Soge King for some reason. Like, who is that? That's, like, not Usopp. I don't know why I ended up drawing him. He just snuck his way in. I don't know what that's about, but I guess what's done is done. I ended up drawing Soge King. I don't know why I did that, but there's Usopp, the Straw Hat Sniper.
If you're so sorry, kill yourself.
Next up, we got Sanji, you know, the Straw Hat's cook. I knew exactly what I was gonna do with him. I said, you know Fancy Pants, that one pony? And all the other Canterlot ponies that wear suits? I know exactly what I'm going to do to reference Sanji's suit. And I knew exactly what suit to use. The maroon suit from the raid on Onigashima. I knew, because that's his best outfit. The gloves hit so different. That's my favorite Sanji fit. He put that shit on so hard. But yeah, I knew exactly what I was going to draw him in. Now, the struggle was just actually drawing him as a pony. And I knew he was going to be the lanky one. Kind of like what Zephyr Breeze, Fluttershy's brother, he has that longer body type. I knew I wanted Sanji to be that tall gentleman type. So I used Zephyr's body as a reference to make his legs a bit longer and everything. A bit more spindly. Except not really spindly. I didn't keep the spindly part because once again, he's really strong. He's the left hand of the King of the Pirates. So yeah, I would hope so. I ended up drawing him in this kicking pose where he's using Diable Jambe. I referenced picture him using the move for the fire, and I really like how it turned out because I think it's really detailed in a way. I don't know, I don't really draw fire that often, so this was my first time actually studying it, and I was like, wow, I actually like how this looked. It came out pretty well in my opinion. And yeah, I mean, most of it's really just Sanji. If you see, like, this is literally just Sanji as a pony, high key. Like, nothing much really changed, so I don't really have that much to say, but yeah. As for his cutie mark, once again, he's known for his passion, especially for women. So he's a very passionate cook. He cares about his friends and women. So I said, okay, let me use a heart, of course, for his love. But not only his love for women, but also his love for cooking, for caring for others. Because as we learned in Whole Cake Island, the Whole Cake Island arc, that he's just a really caring person. So I was like, yeah, clearly that's a big part of his character. And the flames represent that passion. It also can represent the flames of cooking, whatever, you know. It goes both ways. And I just add the utensils crossing over the heart. It's very simple. And I use stock photos for it, like stock icons, which I wish I kind of like used it as a base and then redrew it because it looks a little bit stiff as a cutie mark, but it's whatever. It's whatever. I like it enough. It's cute. It turned out well. And just for his little mini art, I drew him lusting over women. You know, that's our favorite part of Sanji, isn't it? Yeah, so anyways, that's how it is. That's really, I don't have much to say about Sanji, but he actually was one of my favorites when I was making it. I liked how he turned out, and I still do. He's really cute. Bonus points for the fact that he looks really good next to Zoro, and I'm a Zosan shipper, so, you know, that really mattered to me. And I just think that means it was okay design at least, you know? When I finished with Sanji, out of all the ones I had created before that, which was just Zoro and Luffy, I believe, out of everyone, he was my favorite so far, and, you know, he's still probably up there.
I'd sooner take it to the grave!
Last but not least, we got Nami, the navigator of the Straw Hats. If you could tell, I am going in the order that they joined the crew. And technically, Nami joined last after our long part. And this one was the last one I did in the group, of course. So her art did end up looking kind of different because this was after I got my iPad and started drawing on there. And also, I was just experimenting more with shading and line art at that point. But I really struggled with her long hair because, like, if you notice ponies with their ears, they like tend to draw hair a certain way. Like, the ear kind of separates the bangs in a certain way, so you can't draw certain hairstyles the exact same as you would on a human when it comes to ponies. But I kind of ignore that in a way and make the ears just poke through the hair. But that still causes like struggle with actually doing it correctly, making the hair look correct. So I struggled a bit with that. Well, I decided on Nami being a unicorn because I was like, she needs to hold her Clima-tact, and that's not the main reason. She could hold it any other way. I was like, she could be an Earth Pony too. And I saw someone make her a Pegasus. I was like, oh, okay. All of these kind of work. And I just decided on a unicorn. I said, well, she can pick pockets with unicorns. Not that like unicorns are the only ones who can steal. Earth Ponies probably steal all the time. Because we all know unicorns are the most superior class of people, right? Oh, okay. Pony racism, you know. I just decided on making her a unicorn, which kind of poses a problem because I kind of want Robin to be a unicorn too later on. And I don't know about the two girls in the group just being unicorns, but we'll you know, comment on that later, you know. But yeah, I ended up making her a unicorn, and her design's pretty simple. I wanted to put her in clothes because once again, Nami is the Straw Hat who wears and changes clothing the most. It's kind of a big part of her character that she's more fashionable than the others. But once again, drawing clothes on ponies, very difficult, and I couldn't find one that translated well to pony form. So I find it very funny that Sanji, for some reason, is the one that's wearing the most clothes out of everyone, which is not too far off because he's also pretty fashionable. He clearly cares about his appearance as well, so whatever, it works. It's not too out of character. But yeah, I gave Nami her little log pose and everything, her bracelet that she got from Nojiko. Just, you know, accessorizing. She has earrings, of course. As for her cutie mark, I thought it should relate to her wanting to create a world map and being a master navigator to make that dream be accomplished, right? So I used a compass, of course, and then I put a pinwheel representing basically her father, you know, the one that Bellemere, I kind of was shipping them. I don't know, Bellemere and that guy. I think that's what it was implying, that, you know, that was kind of the relationship there. But, like, not actually, but kind of was the dynamic, the family dynamic. But, yeah, that guy. Let me look up his name. Genzo. His name was Genzo. So the pinwheel is representing Genzo, of course. And because it's just a big part of her character. I also put her tattoo on her arm, of course. The pinwheel and the tangerines representing Bellemere and Genzo. That's really it. It was kind of simple. Just the points of the compass being a pinwheel. I said, hey, that just works. So I'm going to do it. I gave her freckles. I can't lie, guys. Like, Nami doesn't have freckles. And I think it's maybe a stereotype to say all gingers have freckles. But I think freckles are cute. So if I can give someone freckles, I'm going to give them freckles. Her Clima-tact is, of course, her post-time skip design. But yeah, it's the new one that extends and everything that she had on Wano. Speaking of Wano, I gave her Zeus as her little mini drawing. He's coming out of the Clima-tact. Heike was getting lazy, did not want to draw like anything else. Another idea was going to be her with the berry signs in her eyes like they always do, but I didn't really want to draw her again. I got lazy. So I said, let's fill up the screen with Zeus. Zeus is very simple to draw, and he's cute. I actually really like Zeus, but yeah, so she's releasing Zeus from Clima-tact, and that's her little mini drawing, and that's really it. It's kind of simple, to end this off, but I think that's all it needs to be. We don't need too much. And I think Nami came out really cute. Her little cream color palette for her skin really like contrasts well with her orange hair. And she just came out really adorable to me. I like how this drawing turned out, you know? Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm so happy that you tuned in all the way to the end. And wait, do you hear that? What is that sound? That sounds like... Yes, I held it off to the end. I also drew Gear 5 Luffy as a pony. Why not? You know, this is gonna be a quick one. I didn't really do much with this. I took basically the same design choices as the original. He's still wearing the sash from the Luffy design. It's just the purple that he has in Gear 5. I would say the hardest part of this drawing was, of course, the cloud-like hair. That was something I struggled with. But everything else kind of fell into place. His nice little smile. The pose is something I found on Google of Pinkie Pie, and I was like, oh my god, this is literally perfect. It's literally just Luffy's pose. Except I think I crossed the arm across it, but it was basically the same thing. And I was like, this works. Oh my. And, you know, let's be real, Gear 5 was the biggest thing that happened to One Piece, so I kind of need to give tribute to it through this. As you can see, I ended up making him an alicorn. I don't know if people are going to be offended by that, but I just feel like, yeah, he's the sun god, but it's not because he's quote-unquote god that I gave it to him. He just has an immense amount of power, so I said, he can be a temporary alicorn. You know, when he transforms, when he feels at his most free, it's almost like he's like, you know how there's a princess of friendship, princess of the sun and everything? He's the king of the pirates and he's the king of freedom. All of that, let's just say that. So when he's feeling extra free, he turns into his Gear 5 form. He becomes an alicorn, I guess, and he turns back afterwards, especially in his weakened form after he's out of Gear 5. Yeah, but I was questioning whether to make him an alicorn. I just said, fuck it, why not? He's an alicorn, why not? That's really it. I don't have much else to say about him, but there's Gear 5 as an MLP character. He came out really cute, I think. Alright, so seriously, now that we've come to the end, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I bet this is your first time ever tuning in here, because my last video was a mukbang that I posted like 2 years ago now with me and my friends, so it's just foolishness, whatever. But I'm really happy if you watched this entire video all the way to the end, and I just want you to know God loves you, and goodbye.